Okay, so this video is mostly for one of my friends who is having a hard time starting Dark Souls 3. Winter. As you can see, I've created a herald as well. I don't know what your burial gift was, so I just made it the Soul of the Nameless Soldier. We're not going to worry about that, though. In fact, I'm just going to remove that from my bar. Everything, you should already know everything. And I'm just going to go over really quick what you might not know since you are brand new to this. Here's your spear. You could see the damage type right underneath the name where you see spear. The damage type is thrust. Its ability is shield splitter. The little charge you do, which I can show here. This will knock an opponent's shield up if they are using a shield. It's not really going to be used for much else. Then you can see down underneath additional effects where you see the D and C. From left to right are the stats strength, dexterity, intelligence, and faith. The D and C is the grade in which the item will scale. That means you see the plus next to the 104 in physical. That 11 extra damage is from the scaling. The spear is going to scale better with dexterity because of its C class in scaling. The kite shield, which you should already be aware of because I know that you have been able to parry, so I'm not going to go over too much. On the guard absorption, you see that you have 100 physical resist. That means if you take a hit, you're not going to take damage from the physical hit, but if they have a weapon infused with magic, fire, lightning, or dark, that means you're going to take some damage from that because it doesn't have 100% absorption or 100 points of absorption for that. I wouldn't say percent. I'm not sure about all that, you know. And of course, you got your talisman, which you don't really want to be relying on. And then you have your Estes Flasks down here that I'm flashing. That is your main source of healing. Obviously, since you're a herald, you have your heal aid. That's I'd save that as I get hit by a little. Oh. Now I'm not too familiar with spears, so I'm making this video a little bit longer to try to grow accustomed to it as well, so I can help you. As you can see, I've just come out of the coffin, so I haven't really done much. So I'm going to actually make my way around the right side to kind of explore a little bit. You've probably seen this. You know, just move around, dash, sprint, then you have the jump, of course. And there's an item in this back corner, in case you haven't gotten it. I'm going to be pointing out most of the items also to kind of help you out. By this guy here, number 1 village corpse. This guy here, you'll gain an Ashen Estes Flask. It's just like your normal yellow Estes Flask, but this restores FP, your blue bar. Later on, if you're not going to be using FP for miracles, sorceries, or pyromancies, you can allot this to become just your standard yellow I'm trying to say Ashen Estes Flask. Go around clearing up some of these trash mobs. Now, a neat thing with thrust weapons is that while the guard is up, with your shield up, you can actually hit behind your guard, as you can see. It doesn't look like it reduces any of the damage, but you've got to be careful, because with your guard up, I'll show you really quick, if you look at your stamina bar, while your guard is up, your stamina will regen slower than with your guard down. Over here, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do because I don't really know spears. On this side, there's kind of like a little challenge. That guy over there is a crystal lizard. You'll see later on in the game that there are smaller versions of him, which are the normal versions. This guy is like an oddity. He will drop a Titanite scale, which you use to upgrade boss weapons, which you get from killing. You'll get a soul from killing bosses past Gundyr, and you'll be able to create a stronger weapon, well, in relative terms, stronger weapon, and use the scales that you get from them and pickups from around the world to upgrade the weapon to increase their damage. I'm not going to challenge him because I am not confident enough in my spear play. Well, maybe I'll come back and give him a whirl. This is going to be a decently long video, so I hope that you're strapped in for the ride. Now, once you come over here and join that, you're going to come up to your first bonfire. These serve as your checkpoints in the world. There's also fast travel stations and where to restore your Estes Flasks. You can also restore health and cure any ailment. Over here, let's see if I can get a parry in. I'm going to let him do what he's going to do, because I'm pretty sure he'll just lead in for a combo. Nope. Look at all these failed parries. I'm bad. I kind of want him to kill me now. There it is. When you parry, never mind everything else, you can repost the enemy, which is a critical hit, and you'll deal way more damage than you will just hitting an enemy with an R1 or an R2. Now, you have to be careful in this game, because if you fail the parry, as you saw, you're going to take a lot of damage, and you're going to leave yourself open for many more attacks. And really, parrying is just something that you're going to do on the side. Once you're good at it, yeah, go for it. Parry king all you want. But I got to get used to the range on this. I wonder if with the shield up and striking, if you have reduced range than you would. I think so, because you're not thrusting your arm forward. So you got to be careful with that, as I am getting juggled by beginning mobs in the first area. But this is the path, because I know that you were jumping down, and other people watching this video, you'll be like, what are you talking about? There's more enemies here. And that's what happens when you run out of stamina. You're guarding. You're left there, and you can take, and you'll be like debuffed. Well, not debuffed. You'll take more damage. Now down there, the little cheeky item there guarded by these guys is something that if you haven't picked up, you can use in the boss fight versus Gundyr. Let's go down and see if we can pick that up. Being careful not to fall off the ledge. A cheeky little archer friend back behind him. In here, we've gotten 5 fire bombs. Now, if you go into your equipment slot, you'll notice down here with your Estes Flask and your Ashen Estes Flask, you have other slots. Now, you can put this in your slot and use the down arrow on the D-pad to cycle between. Now, if you're at like halfway through your list, instead of having to fight for your Estes Flask, you could just hold down, and it'll cycle to your first slot, which, since there's not really many in the slot, you don't really have to do that, since it's still going to go through everything. And then also, if you have more spells, miracles, or pyromancies equipped later on in the game, up directional pad will cycle through those, and you can hold it down as well to cycle to the first one equipped. And before I go over here, I'm going to go rest at the bonfire, which I don't really need to do, but I'd rather not waste an Estes and go fight Gundyr with a spear that I'm not comfortable with. Now that we've gotten the items from the bottom area, we can go over here. And we can spy an item there on that coffin. There's your Titanite Shard. Oh, I'm pretty sure you may have already gotten that item. You can do a plunging attack here. Then you have Mr. Archer. as you have already opened Gundyr up by taking the sword, I am not going to fight him on with just doing this, but I will show you something. I'm going to die on this one. When you were to pull the sword out for future characters and knowledge, when you do so, when he starts to move, you can get free attacks in on him. Being careful not to overjudge it. And there I am, failing to parry on Gundyr. When you parry him, it's not okay. So it's a two-step riposte. Hurry up and kill me already. Thank you. Sorry, he was taking a little long. I'm more used to bosses that'll just keep wailing on you when they hit you. Which he does, but I'm sorry about the deep breath out. My mic was a little close to my nose. Okay, let's make our way back. Now let's try to beat him this time. You just kind of want to stay in his grill for a while. Making sure to watch his attacks. Paying attention to what he does. Try to goad him into an attack if you can. When he transforms, he's going to swipe. You just want to kind of stay in his grill. Now at this point, if you've gotten the fire bombs, if he doesn't kill me here, which he did, that is my bad. I wasn't being patient enough with that one. I should have just kept attacking him instead of trying to pull out the fire bombs. Hindsight. He is a little challenging if you're not used to the weapon. That's what I was saying, like, if you needed to, I'd just get you the weapon if you needed to use something else. Oof. I don't know how I feel about the guard and attack. I don't really use thrust weapons too much. I use slash. I'm a great sword and straight sword kind of guy. Axes. Anything that isn't pokey. It's like I don't know what. I feel like I'm in range some of the times, and then I'm not in range. Okay, round 3. Okay, let's not try to get fancy this time. I'm gonna two-hand the spear now. I shouldn't have gone for the heavy. Now I'll throw the fire bombs. And he's down. Pretty much, I'm gonna wait for the explosion of sound. Pretty much the main thing you want to do in this fight, I don't know if I've illustrated it, fighting him or not, stay in his face. His reach is great when you hold him at range. If you stay in his face, stay in his legs, roll into the attacks, trying to avoid the grab during first phase, just watching where his swings are, you'll do fine. Take 1 or 2 pokes at him, and then you're going to want to focus on dodging. When he does do an attack, either the single swing or the 2 hit, he's going to pause for a second to come back up. He's going to give you time for that attack. Just wait for that time. You don't have to be that aggressive. It's a simple fight, but it's a fight nonetheless. So you've got to be careful with it. Now we're going to move on from here towards Firelink Shrine. And I'm going to show you some interesting things that you can grab here before moving on to the High Wall of Lothric. You're going to pass through these doors here. Obviously. And you're going to be greeted with your first item. A broken straight sword. You're going to continue up the path. You don't really have to worry about anything really attacking you, as the hollows in the area are just sat on the ground, just kind of cowering there until you attack them. So you pretty much just have a leisurely stroll up here into Firelink Shrine. Now through here into Firelink Shrine, you're going to move down and talk with the Firekeeper. Before I talk to the Firekeeper, you're going to want to go into your inventory, and you're going to use any souls that you've collected through your journey. These will add to your soul count in the top right. As you can see, my soul counter going up. Before we talk to the Firekeeper, let's move this way. We have 5,000 souls now, depending on... You'll probably have 3,000 or some odd number of souls once you beat Gundyr. So we'll talk to the merchant here. The first 2 items that you're going to want to buy are the white soapstone here for 500 and the dried finger. Obviously, there's other items here too. Well, the torch is also an important thing for later on in the game, so you might as well pick it up here too if you have the money spare. You got some chain armor here. And some arrows.
Be sure to bring more smoke.
Now you're going to want to talk to the Firekeeper.
Welcome to the bond. I am a fire. I to the Lord to this.
I'll let you listen to the dialogue on your own. That we're not taking up too much time. Here is where you level up. You level up by tuning points into your stats here. Vigor will level up health, as well as, well, obviously, as leveling up will also level up your resistances. But let's just focus on your base power. Vigor will level up health. Attunement will level up the amount of FP you have, your blue bar. Endurance will level up the amount of stamina you have, your green bar. Vitality is for equip load. how much gear you can have equipped on your person. Equipped, not in your bag. You can have however many items you want in your bag at a time. Equipped on your person will weigh your character down. You never want to go above 70. Once you hit 70 equip load, you're going to start slow rolling. You'll still be able to run and everything, but when you go to roll, when you go to dodge, you're going to be much slower, and you're not going to have the same amount of iframes, the frames in which you cannot be hit. Strength, obviously for strength weapons, dex for dex weapons, intelligence and faith. Intelligence will increase the power of your sorceries, allow you to attune higher level spells. Faith will improve your miracles and allow you to attune higher level miracles. And the mixture of intelligence and faith will allow you to attune higher level pyromancies, and will also improve the damage of the pyromancies. Since you're a herald, you've already got that miracle, so you can put some points into faith as well as a little bit into dexterity, but you probably don't want to put any into faith since you only have heal aid. Having just heal, it's not that great of a miracle, so you'll probably want to focus more on strength and dex for the most part right now, until you get something that you want in the past. Like, don't just sit on strength and dexterity. You're going to also want a little bit of vigor, a little bit of endurance, and a little bit of attunement here and there. But you're also going to want to make sure that you're keeping up with the damage as you're moving through the levels. If you're not keeping up with the damage, you're going to have a harder and harder time through the game. So we're just going to apply some points into strength and dexterity, trying to keep them about the same for the spears that I know you're going to want later on. So we can stop that now, since we've expended the souls that we're allowed to level up with currently. Now we're going to move back outside for a second. I did not want to go this way. I wanted to go the other way. Let's first take a gander up here. I know when you've listened to when we're playing, when we talk about getting invaded. Getting invaded happens when you're embered, such as now, as you'll be after you've beaten Gundyr. Every time you beat a boss, you're going to automatically ember yourself. Being embered allows you to to summon in cooperative help, or red soapstone signs if you want a PvP. Also, it'll allow other players in the area to invade your world as red phantoms to try to come and kill you. When you're not embered, you'll not be able to be invaded, but you also can't summon people in co-op. While embered, you do gain a decent boost to your max health. But every time you are invaded, you can see this guy right here. This is the giant tree. This is right through those steps that I showed you there. Every so often, you can come here and you can check if a seed of the giant tree has fallen. It's a 50% chance every time you're invaded, so every time it does happen, be it win or lose, always come here in the downtime to check if a seed has fallen. You can have a few in your inventory, but only one seed at a time can be on the ground here waiting for you. So you want to keep that all cleared up. Then if we move up here, the merchant will sell a key for 20,000 souls for this tower. You can use it to get up there and grab a couple of items for later on in the game, as well as drop down and kick that ladder down for something else. But here in this spot, hold on, because when I did this earlier with you, I want to switch that back. You see this tree here? Well, you can use this tree to jump up onto this ledge. I'm not very good at it, but I will show you that it is possible. You got to kind of sprint at it to the point where you kind of climb up. It's kind of hard to do, so I don't know if you'll be able to do it. You don't have to do it. It's just it's kind of a cheesy way to get up into this area before you're technically supposed to be there. I mean, you can pretty much get there once you get through High Wall of Lothric, but It's just it's nice to have early aim. The items that are one of the items, actually two of the items that are through here. Which if you'll give me a second of all this failing and making a fool of myself. I'm not very good at jumping in this game. I didn't even climb the tree that time. I was just like, let me run. I need to snap more to the right. There we go. Homeward bones. Homeward bones allow you to return to the last bonfire rested at, or to the shrine. So if you use them, you can either teleport to the bonfire recently lit, your most recent lit bonfire, the bonfire you use to go through the area currently. Or you can also fast travel back to Firelink Shrine, back to here, depending on what you need to do. Now you're going to want to carefully go across these rafters, as I haven't even once you're up here. This is the trade crow. You can drop certain items on the ground, leave them there. Well, not here, up at the nest above here, although maybe it'll work here. Do I have something that I can test? Do they take homeward bones? Yep, they do. So you can drop an item there, and they have specific trades to get specific items, and there's also the only way to get the Sunset Armor set. And a couple of other items. Here you'll find an Estes Shard, which I'll show you what that does in a minute. Now at the end of these I don't know what that sound was. At the end of these what would you call this? Like rafters. At one of them will be an illusory wall. Now you can either hit it with your weapon or roll at it like I did. At the end of this, if you drop down here, you'll notice that there is a chest here. When you open said chest, inside is the covetous silver serpent ring. I don't know why I'm emoting. If you go down to your ring slot, every time you kill an enemy, it'll drop more souls. The amount is 10% more than what you would have gotten if you didn't have the ring equipped. And from here, it's just a quick drop down and back down over here. With that Estes Shard you've just gotten from the rafters, assuming that you did, that you have done the little jump cheese, you could talk to Andre here. He's the blacksmith for Firelink Shrine. You can go down to reinforce Estes Flask, and it'll use the Estes Shard to reinforce your flask, increasing the number of uses it has. You can also allot your Estes. Say you don't want to use that Ashen Estes Flask, you could use left or right on the directional pad to change the number of uses each flask has. I'm not really interested in the miracle right now, so I'll just put all my Estes into healing. I'm going to rest at the bonfire and show you one more thing. Now, I know that you like katanas, and I know that you like Japanese things, like, period. So, if we move over here, there is a not-so-friendly NPC that makes Gundyr look like a cat. Well, not... I forgot when you grab that item. When you grab that shield, these guys will aggro you. They sit over here without the... right on these steps if you don't grab the shield, so you can take care of them before you grab it. But right up there by that gate is the sword... I didn't get my Estes Flask back. Did I not? I want my Estes before I fight him. That's the Swordmaster NPC. You can kill him and get the Uchigatana and the Master's Attire. The Uchigatana is a, well, in my opinion, it's an okay weapon. I haven't really used it that much. I use the black blade, or the fractured blade, or whatever the one from Midir is called. I think it's the fractured blade. Anyway, this is the Uchigatana over here that we're going to get by killing him, hopefully, and not completely embarrass ourselves. Just want to be very careful because he's very nasty. Oh god, he's so... I'm not gonna recommend you fight him. I can't, because I know how much trouble that you've had fighting Gundyr, and I can drop you a katana, but just for... I'm not even gonna fight him again because I'm not used to the spear, and I really just don't want to. Anyway, since you've talked to her and you've planted the coiled sword into the bonfire, from here you'll be traveling to the high wall of Lothric, and this is the last part of the video. I'm only gonna just talk here for a second more before leaving it off. So if you're not worried about it and you'd rather me tell you in real time, okay, but I'm going to let you know right now, so you don't have to worry about it once we get through this loading screen. As my phone goes off. You'll make your way through this door here. And light the bonfire. Now you remember the items that we picked up from the shop, the white soapstone? This is what you use in order to be summoned to another world. You're going to put it into your hotbar here. I can actually remove that. Just move that over. That's not what I want. You'll be equipping the white soapstone and the black separation crystal, as well as any other items that you may want, like your homeward bones. In order to use the white soapstone, you will go into your system, and in the internet options, I have the password in, so I'm not going to do that. You'll be putting in the password in options. It is in options. I showed you, but I didn't go to it. You'll put the password in, and then you'll need the password anyway in order to summon us, so you can see our signs. And when that's all said and done, you simply press square on it, and it'll write your soapstone on the ground. That's your summon sign, right here. You could press X on it again, on cancel, to remove your sign. Okay, sorry, I did not cancel the cancel. Silly me. And that'll remove your sign. You can just leave the sign there on the ground, and then we'll be able to summon you into our world as a white phantom, and you'll be allowed to help us. The cool thing about being a white phantom is that if you do die as that white phantom, you don't lose any souls. So you can use that to be summoned into your friend's world and just farm up souls to get your character higher without the risk of losing those souls. But when you are summoned in as a white phantom, the amount of Estes Flasks or Ashen Estes Flasks that you do have is cut in half. You're only allowed to take in half. Since I have 5, that would mean only 2 flasks. And if you have, let's say, 1 as your Ashen Estes Flask, if you do not turn it into a normal flask, you will have 0, because there is no half of 1. You won't spawn in with just the 1. You'll have none. So just be aware of that. Aware of that. It's pretty much all I wanted to let you know. So I'll talk to you whenever I see you pass Gundyr.